My YouTube, make sure this thing is okie dokie. Okay, let me see. Okay, I think we're good. I think everything looks good. Excellent connection. Oh, yeah, we're live. We're live. All right.
Go.
So I told you that I don't think I could watch this again after the first showing, and we're talking Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever. But this is probably one of my most excited movies for Marvel that was coming in this year. So I've seen this twice, and I think you've
Yep.
seen it three times already.
So far.
This is clocking in at almost 3 hours. I mean, if you're including the freaking previews, are like
Mhm.
30 minutes. So this is a long movie, and but spoilers from here. Where I think everybody's seen it already. It's a damn good movie. It's probably one of the best. I guess it's still in Phase Four. Best Phase Four movies that they put out.
Mhm.
I know a lot of people are like conflicted and like are split on it, and some of their arguments I could agree on. But when it comes to like this is the same thing when I said about like Spider-Man No Way Home, right? Spider-Man No Way Home, it's long, but I'm actually more entertained. I think that's my favorite Phase 4 movie. But it's such a great treat. It's a love letter to Spider-Man fans. It's a great Spider-Man movie. It's a great Marvel movie. But like if you compare that one with like the Batman, I think I remember telling you this is that the Batman is an overall like film to me. Where I'm gonna compare like Black Panther to like let's say Multiverse of Madness, which I loved Multiverse of Madness. Not a lot of people liked it. But compared to like Black Panther Multiverse of Madness, I find Black Panther like a better film, a better structured movie. Looks great. Music was fire. I've been playing that Rihanna jam every single day. Lift me up. Like that's my jam. That's my shit right there. It looked great. Acting was phenomenal. Angela Bassett, I hope she gets at least an Oscar nomination for her role. But everybody carried it, especially with Chadwick Boseman's passing. Like it's kind of the same, somewhat of the same circumstances as like Fast and Furious. What was like 7 when Paul Walker died, but
Yep.
I think they filmed like half of it, and then they had to go back and rewrite the script. That's what Ryan Coogler had to do. He had to go back. He had to rewrite. He had to really change this movie, yet kind of keep the same theme, which is like loss. Like the movie was always going to be about like loss, death, and all that stuff. I think it was going to be about the blimp.
Yep.
I Albert, I enjoyed the hell out of the movie. The second time, I still think this movie needs to be cut. I still don't agree with the introduction of Riri. Riri, I don't necessarily don't hate. I don't hate her, but I don't necessarily. I'm not on board with her yet. I don't really like her suit. I thought the Martin Freeman and the Thunderbolts kind of like inclusion could have been gone. You didn't really need that. I thought it would have been just better if they focused on the transition to T'Challa, to Shuri, to Nate. I think one of my favorite things about this movie was Namor. Namor is like he's pretty dope. I like his look. I mean, the costumes, the production design were phenomenal. I loved how they changed his origin to not just because I'm Mexican, but I think that's a great idea. Is they changed it to like this Aztec kind of deal going on. It's not Atlantis like in the comics, it's something else. So I overall, there's a lot to like here. There's some problems I have with it, especially that runtime, but there's so much to like, and I think it was a good sequel. I think it was a good like moving forward, and especially with the post credit scene, one post credit scene. I will say though, I didn't get emotional on the first watch. I mean, I felt something, but I didn't get emotional. But the second watch, with that intro, I did share a little bit of a tear because Chadwick Boseman, like, I don't know the guy. None of us knows the guy unless like the people who worked with them, his family and stuff. but the guy seemed just had that. It's just so tragic how he went, and to realize, that he had cancer while he was still performing, while he was doing what, Endgame, Infinity
He
War.
he had it the entire time he portrayed the character of Black Panther.
That's the strongest Avenger right there. To just still do it, and then and Ryan Coogler, if you've heard his interview, his last conversation with Chad, didn't even read the script. He said, anything, he was tired. He was pretty much at the end. So, man, that second time, it hurts, man. It hurts. I don't know the guy, but the guy seemed like such a great guy, and to hear him go through that, that's a freaking man right there, man. That's a tough loss right there. But Albert, I'm gonna give it to you. I want to hear all your thoughts about this film, your likes, your dislikes, and what was your favorite part of the film?
Dude, you definitely brought up a lot of things, and like the entire time you're talking, I was just thinking, I don't even know like where to start. There was I don't even want to say there was a lot that happened in this movie because I don't feel like there was a lot that happened, but
True.
there was just this. It was like a monumental movie. Like it was definitely emotional, and I've been using the word beautiful. That this is Marvel's most beautiful movie.
I
It
could
might
agree with
not be
that.
the best story. It might not be the best action, but to me, it's like the most beautiful overall movie that they've put out in like since 2008. Just because of they were telling two stories kind of in a way the way I saw it. They're telling a story like in their universe, but then also they're trying to honor the legacy of Chadwick. And I guess I'll start off with saying I was one of the people that didn't want him to be recasted. I would have been fine if they did. I would have been fine whatever they decided, really. But I know people thought like the character is bigger than an actor, but I wanted them to mirror the real life, and because everyone's question was for a while now. I mean, honestly, one of my first thoughts when I heard about his passing first was like, damn, that's sad. I thought he was like 30, but I guess he was 40, which is still very young.
Yeah.
But it it just it was surprising. And then my second thought immediately after is like, what are they gonna do with the character? And I feel like a lot of people um thought about that, was like, oh, what are they gonna do with the character? And like I said, I would have been fine with whatever, but I did want them to mirror the real life. Like they didn't have to be specific. They didn't have to say like he passed away from, I think he had colon cancer.
Yeah, colon cancer. Yeah.
So they just said, they opened up the movie with like, oh, he has an illness, right? You don't see him.
Never addressed what
And
it is at all.
they don't.
Which
Yep,
I'm
it's just
which
an
I'm okay
illness.
with. I'm fine with
I'm
it.
okay with too. So I like the way they went about it. So, and for the people that did want the character to be recasted, so we started with the beginning. I'm gonna jump all the way to the end for a second. He was recasted in a way because now it's gonna be, they introduce his son in this post-credit scene, and the dude has the same name and everything. So in a way,
Yeah,
you can argue that
T'Challa.
T'Challa is like gonna be the actual T'Challa from the comic book, and it is like his origin story.
Which I
You
absolutely
you
like. I
could say
love
it
that
like
they
that.
did that.
I
Yeah, I
love that
love
they
that
did
they
that
brought it.
too. So I feel like they definitely gave people the best compromise, which is we're not recasting the character, but we're literally gonna have his son with the same name continue the character, because the son's gonna be the Black Panther eventually, you know.
Yeah.
And my cousin was telling me that he didn't really care for it because they weren't really thinking in the like long run. And I was like telling him, dude, what do you mean? That's nothing but thinking about the long run. Like
I mean,
the dude's like
a lot
five,
of
6 years old.
they're speculating, Young Avengers,
And
the
that's
new
what I was
Avengers
thinking
going
too.
forward. I mean, think about
Yep.
it. Tom Holland just signed another
Hmm.
deal to get him another trilogy. He's going to be in Born Again with the Daredevil series. He's going to be making an appearance probably in some of the, maybe Into the Spider-Verse. Who knows? Like,
Right.
Tom Holland is
The
young.
Avengers movies, he's gonna for sure be in those.
He's
I
going
don't
to
know
be
if
in an
he said
Avengers
that.
movie. Well, I'm gonna say like Tom Holland. If they don't kill him off
Hmm.
at the end of like all this stuff, but he's still. I'm assuming he's still gonna want to take a break. You have
Yeah.
like you have that. I don't want to say Tony Stark, but you have that linchpin of all these past Avengers. So when this kid does grow up, you could maybe see a Peter Parker assembling one more kind of like
Hmm.
Avengers type film, and then I could see the future on that. I could see it slowly but surely getting to the point where we'll see this T'Challa becoming like the big Black Panther, and you never know.
Yep.
You never know. Maybe Storm isn't in the X-Men just yet.
Hmm.
Maybe Storm comes later on when T'Challa,
Yep.
because we all know
Exactly.
T'Challa is married to Storm later on,
Yeah.
and they could actually that'd be a cool idea because where his mother Nayoke, I believe her name is, or whatever, him and her are in that village.
Hmm.
Maybe Storm is in there. Maybe Storm he meets
And
Storm, and
exactly.
that's how you can bring in
I was
her
thinking that
character.
too.
Yeah,
Because
so
I don't know what
yeah,
Storm's background is. People might get mad if they change her background. Because they're in, I don't know if it's Haiti or they're saying at Haiti. I don't know if it's the
yeah,
same place, but if people have a problem, they can always just say that she was born over there, and then as a child she moved over here to where
yeah.
T'Challa is. So,
And you're gonna still probably get Halle Berry Storm coming in
mhm.
if they do a
Yeah,
Secret
and
Wars.
Secret Wars, everything's on the table. There's nothing that you can write off.
Oh,
Like that movie
I think they're
is
bringing
gonna be
everybody, dude.
insane.
Bringing
I could
everybody.
see that too. I don't want like to people to expect that because then they're gonna be disappointed like Multiverse of
Yeah,
Madness.
like Multiverse of
But
Madness. Yeah,
I really think in Secret Wars there's gonna be some huge, massive reveals.
I think a lot of the
Um,
Fox property for sure is coming involved.
mhm, for sure.
But I absolutely agree with you. I am one of the other like I guess few that believe like I didn't think they should have recasted it. I think that's an
Hmm.
awesome way to honor because that's my
Hmm.
king right there. That's T'Challa. Chadwick
Right.
is my Black Panther. He inspires so many for the little amount of screen time. I still think they never captured his Civil War Black Panther, but it might have happened later on if he would have lived. Because I think the
Hmm.
Civil War Black Panther is the best I've seen. That Black Panther and T'Challa,
Yep.
but he's carried with little time he had. I think that's why it's so sad, and that's why you get emotional because what the
Yeah.
promise that was there, he was phenomenal. So
He was great. Generational.
him not being recasted. Now this is different. Everybody's gonna point to like, oh, what about
Hmm.
Thunderbolt Ross? That actor passed. He was in like the
Right.
Incredible Hulk. He was in some of the Avenger movies. I'm like, it's a little bit different just because he's not that. He didn't put that impact like Chadwick did with that little time. So I could
Yep.
agree that don't. I like the compromise. I like what they did, and I totally agree. I think it was a right move because Shuri already does become the Black Panther in the comics,
Hmm.
so they just had to move it more forward. They were gonna probably do this no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm actually didn't want Shuri to become Black Panther in this film, but
Me neither.
I
Me
was
neither.
okay with it, and the actress did a great job. She really had to step up her game. It
Yep.
really feels like that if they didn't at the end of this movie, I really feel like if she doesn't want to be continue because we know behind the scenes there was a lot of drama going on with
Hmm.
her and the vaccines and her getting injured and blah blah blah, and how she was kind of it seemed like she was kind of done with it that they were gonna not we're gonna move on from her. But this is a she finished the film like a champ. She probably knew how much this meant. I mean, she of course was working with Chadwick too the most. So I think at the end of this film, where we left it off, if she doesn't want to come back, this is actually a good way to not bring her or her to pass the mantle on because we'll get into M'Baku, we'll get into Okoye,
Oh, we'll
but
get into all that.
yeah, we'll get into all that, and then we're touching upon the son already because that's an option too. But Shuri, the actress, she doesn't have to come back and play the Black Panther. I would be fine with her coming back as the Black Panther, just because I know on the bench is this little kid who's going to take on the mantle later on, and that's the proper full circle. But I absolutely agree with you. Like it was great that they didn't recast him. I was all on board. I think that was the
Hmm.
right call.
Yeah, I think they handled it perfectly in my eyes. And yep, right call. I agree. So bravo to Ryan Coogler. That man, because he had to scrap the whole whatever the other movie was gonna be originally.
Yeah,
Um,
he
they
really
they
had to
rewrote
rework it.
everything, you know,
Yeah,
and I can't even imagine the feeling because the cast also they definitely I'm pretty sure they were always going to put their best efforts, but they knew this one was special and they had to up it even
absolutely. And
more.
the MVP
Um,
to me is Angela Bassett for
I know
sure.
a lot of people have been loving her, and she did a great job. To me, though, honestly, Letita Wright, this was her movie. I didn't care about Shuri too much in other movies, like because she was always just kind of a background, a
Yeah,
B character.
she was the
This movie,
sister.
she
She
was
was
the
the
forefront of
not.
the movie.
Yeah, she wasn't the annoying sister, but she was the sister that was
Mhm.
kind of there. That you don't really,
Yeah,
you know, get it. She's
she was a
smart.
supporting character. Now this movie, she was the main character, and she did a great job. I was able to separate the actress from the character because,
Yeah,
like, I didn't have a big problem with the actress, but it was annoying how she had to like halt the production of the movie and delay it and whatever. But no, the character won me over. I'm excited to see more Shuri if we do get it, and just this movie was really emotional, and her reaction to a lot of the scenes was really what got to me because then I can picture like if I was in her situation, how would I feel?
and you know what?
But
She
yeah,
wasn't all the way a downer through the whole movie. Like she was
mm-mm,
still, she was a normal. That's what I love about this movie. Is it? Yes, it hits kind of close to home. It's very kind of a little bit meta, but like the characters in this film just felt like all like real. Like this is like she was depressed, she was saddened, but
mm-hmm,
she still had some jokes in her, especially when she's going and
yeah,
they're going to go get Riri. She never felt like too Debbie Downer, you know? She felt
mm-mm,
like that's like people who lose people and people who think they could have helped in some way
right,
to try to save this person. She still has that guilt, but it's not like she's in her room. She's kind of in her lab a lot, but it's not
well,
like
yeah,
she's not eating or anything like that. She's still Shuri. She just has that burden and that weight, which I found fascinating, Albert. I thought the best thing they introduced, because we didn't get that from the other movies, was the fact that she's kind of on the fence of like her
mm,
ancestral like
yep,
beliefs. So
and it
basically,
makes sense for her character.
she's kind of an atheist in her
Mm-hmm.
world, which was fascinating because I'm like,
That's
I didn't even
yeah.
think she thought that, and that was the best thing they
Mm-hmm.
could put into the script for sure.
And that was the opening line. She mentions it. She's saying, "Bass, please help me heal my brother, and I'll never question your existence again."
Yeah,
So it opens up with her questioning it, and like this makes it this to me. It's like she's always questioned it, right?
yeah,
Which you know, the geniuses of the world, most of them are atheists, so it makes sense that
yeah. I
she
think
would be.
Tony's kind of atheist in this realm a little bit, pretty
Hmm.
much. Yeah.
Doctor Strange for sure. Before he became Doctor Strange, I feel like now it's like who
Now
knows
it's
what
a
he's
whole different
doing.
ballpark since he's
Yeah.
seen a lot of stuff, you know.
So
Um,
it's like her, she's the same. They need to see proof before they believe it. Now she has to believe it. She saw
I don't,
the ancestral plane,
I don't know because a lot of people are pointing out that maybe she believed that it's kind of hallucinogenic because she is drinking a substance. It's kind of
right?
weird. You know, it's kind of it's you still kind of well, no, I agree. She knows now because at the end of the film she does do the ceremony that her mom was trying to teach her,
Hmm.
and she feels the that wind, so she feels probably her brother being there, and then of course thinking about a lot of her memories and stuff. And the one that nails it is the fact that she finds out that he had a son, which I'll get in a minute because it's kind of weird. Like, well, let's get into it now. So she finds out that Chad or her brother had a son, right?
Right?
And what's her name? She wasn't present through a lot of it. She left
Hmm.
Wakanda. So I was under the impression that the mom knew ahead of her death. And we'll get to the queen too. But I was the impression that she already knew. That's why she wanted to talk to Shuri and say, I
Right?
have something to tell you.
That's what I thought too. That's what I thought, but I'm
What
not
I want to
sure.
know is why didn't they tell her? Why didn't they tell her at all from the get go? I don't understand why they want to tell Shuri
Mm-hmm.
that her brother had like way in advance. What she's not gonna
Mm-hmm.
blab to anybody. If anything, this is gonna help her heal faster. So I didn't get because the kid is like 6 years old already. So
Yeah,
it's been
5 or 6.
6 years,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Since nobody, she didn't tell her. I didn't get that. I didn't. I thought that was a little bit. There's a couple like moments where I'm like, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. But I went with it, and it's just not. It was a nice. I think it's just because they wanted that nice closure and moment at the end of the movie, which was like you said, beautiful because they had like Rihanna's like instrumental in the background, and the
That song's
actress
amazing.
the actress did a fantastic job of conveying. Like when I was watching it twice, I love the part because you have the camera, and I think this is Ryan Coogler's best one. I think he directed this better than the first one,
Mm-hmm.
and you just have the shot where you just kind of you have the sun on her face, and she's just really showing emotion. And it was probably it definitely was an emotional movie for her. So it's not like these actors are really kind of acting. It's kind of there. It's there. It's all through. This is a hard process, even if just filming it on all that stuff and all that stuff. So I love that shot. I do like the shot where she is kind of mourning and she feels the wind, and then you get the post credit scene, and then she's just kind of like in shock, but yet she embraces. I think that makes her believe even more that yeah, her brother is maybe in a better place, and yes, there is some. Just because her brother got taken away doesn't mean that there's like lost hope because that hope is right there in front of you. And
Mm-hmm.
the kid telling, "I'm T'Challa," Wakanda forever. That
Yeah.
was a good moment. That was good. I'll give Ryan that, even though it was a little weird with that whole circumstance, but I'll give Ryan that for sure.
And yeah, I didn't think about it too much, but it is weird that she wouldn't know. You would think, especially after her brother's passing, that they would tell her.
Yeah,
Because yeah, sure, they were keeping it a secret from her while he was still alive, which is also weird. But the more weird thing is not telling her at all. But like, I kind of thought they might have introduced T'Challa's child in the movie, but I thought they would do it as like a 1 year old, like a baby. But
yeah.
they're like, nah, he had this baby 5 years ago.
He's 6. He like five
Hmm.
or six in this movie. And
Hmm.
it's kind of
And
crazy. I didn't notice the first time, but the second time when the queen does visit the little kind of like sanctuary that she's at or whatever.
it's him. He runs up
Yeah,
to her.
he's in the yeah. So that's how
Yep.
that's when I
I
was
didn't
like,
notice
well,
that either.
she obviously knew that T'Challa had a kid. And it makes sense that he didn't want the pressures of the throne being
Hmm.
on him because
Yeah.
of what happened with Killmonger, what happened to his dad, and
Hmm.
it's kind of a game. Like realistically, if Marvel
Yeah.
was realistic, a lot of these family members would try to gun for their heads just to take that throne.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Like the king of the most powerful nation, right?
most
Um.
powerful. That was a badass opening scene of the movie too, with them trying to steal was it vibranium, and the queen is making her like talking
Oh, I
to the
love
Senate.
that. Hmm.
Yeah, that was cool
Dude.
because she's like, "Hey, our king is gone, but don't even think we can't
Hmm.
defend." I love that. I thought it was great.
I
And
love that.
and
And
then
I want to get into the music more.
yes,
Not right
because
now, not right now, because there's a lot of music, and we haven't even talked about Talocan, but they
but
had
but
some
the
music too.
but the
But
scene
when
with the
the
Koye coming
scene
out of the
with
shadow, they go,
Okoye and
"Woo,
the new theme,
woo,
yeah,
woo,
the new
yeah,
theme that they
fire!"
gave the Dora Milaje, the whoop,
Oh, dude,
or
fire!
whatever, right? Yeah, that's amazing. Like it just added so much to that scene, and I'm glad they gave them that theme,
Yeah.
as well as the new Black Panther theme is amazing too. But I feel like the more iconic one is just because it's more unique is the Dora Milaje one. But
Oh,
yeah,
dude, I
that
love their
scene,
theme.
I loved
Going
it.
and
The
I
first
watched
three
the first
scenes of
one
the movie
before.
were all perfect to me because
Yeah,
it opens up with Shuri trying to save her brother, then like the funeral, that's a scene to me perfect. Then
it's good.
it introduces the Dora Milaje and the Wakanda and the Genova
Yeah,
talking to France, perfect. And then right after that, it goes to introduces Namor
Namor,
and his people,
Namor.
and
Yeah,
I was like perfect the way they introduced them too. So
I
the
will ask
the
you this. I'll ask you this though. So like the
All
first
right.
showing, it wasn't as bad, but the second showing, I don't know why it was so bad. Because well, the first time I watched Black Panther 2, what I will say this too, I did watch Black Panther 1 before I watched Black Panther 2 just to get back to familiarize. And Black Panther 1 still holds up. The only thing wrong with it, really, in my eyes, is that god awful CGI, which they cleaned up in this film. So I watched the first time I watched it in AG, and then the second time I watched it in Santa Maria RPX. Was it dark to you though? Was a lot of the scenes super dark? Because I felt like the a lot of the scenes, especially the underwater scenes,
Yeah,
the Namor introduction was really dark and it was hard to see.
they were dark, but also the ocean's a dark place, so I didn't
Hmm.
like. That's just how it is. They cut off the light. The only light that they had was from like the. I think there's a thunderstorm in the moon.
Yeah,
So I love that it was dark. I love that you couldn't really. You just saw the shadow of Namor. I love that. And then when the underwater, like the ocean's dark as heck, so I didn't mind it either. But there were some scenes that didn't have to do with the ocean that were pretty dark as well.
yeah. I think the bridge
Um,
scene was really some parts where
yeah,
it's really dark.
yeah, that was like the borderline right there. It was like just good enough, like just good, just right.
Yeah,
If it's a little
yes.
darker, then I'd be like, oh man, this movie's dark. Um,
Cinematography was a little iffy sometimes.
yeah, but it it was a little dark, but it was fine. Like if you have an OLED, you throw it on there, it's gonna look fine. I'm pretty sure.
It was just weird because like AG was like a little bit more brighter than the second time
Hmm.
going on to Santa Maria. So I don't know if it was maybe a
Right.
screening thing, a projection thing, but it was a little dark. But it didn't take me out of the experience whatsoever. I mean,
No, if anything, for me, it enhanced it a bit because it's like, damn, because they made the Namor and his people like kind of a mystery at first, you know. I mean, we all know who they were. We all saw the trailers, but like
yeah.
they're making a little mystery. Um, but should we talk about Namor and his people now?
I was gonna say, what was your thoughts on Namor and
El
his
hijo
people?
sin amor.
Oh wait,
I
wait, Duke Khan, and
that
Baku says it like yeah,
when Baku says it hilarious. Like I don't know if that was supposed to be like a
the
little
fish
funny or
man,
not,
the
but it's
fish
always
man,
funny to me.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
his people
I will
con.
say one thing though before we get into Namor, is
Uh huh.
that they should have definitely had more screen time for M'Baku. M'Baku is
All right. Yeah.
such a great character, charismatic, and I hope we're gonna get more. You know, he's probably gonna get
Hold
a
up.
Disney Plus series, especially with him. I think he became
Mhm.
king basically of Wakanda.
Right. Right. So hold on. I'm gonna save the Namor and his people for a bit. Let me finish talking about the people of Wakanda. Before we jump into the blue people. Um, M'Baku, 100% agree. Originally I wanted him to be Black Panther, even though it wouldn't make sense, right?
Me
Because
too. Well, kind of. It does because
it's
he's still in the first one. He still was able. He's part of that bloodline or whatever. Or
hmm
he challenged for the throne.
he did, yeah,
He did, and he can technically be Black Panther. So if what's your name, Latita, right?
yeah.
If she doesn't want to come back, I mean, and Baku's right there, man. And I think across the board, whatever anybody felt about the movie, I've heard so many people talk about this, conflicting thoughts on it. The one thing everybody could agree on is M'Baku should have had a little bit more screen time.
Yep, for sure. He should have had more screen time. I, I understand why they didn't. The movie, it's already long enough, and
Yeah,
I. Well, you mentioned it earlier. The things that were happening with the CIA and all that stuff over there, right?
yeah,
On my first viewing, I didn't mind it. Second viewing, I was like, yeah. So they could have maybe not
slows it
included
down.
this, or
Hmm.
just there was only a few scenes, but still, I was like, that was all
Yeah,
just set up for Thunderbolts, right? But I was like, they could
that
use
is true.
that time for the M'Baku, or because he got little parts and he shined in those little parts. Like he's a hilarious character, and I
I
really like him. But
I do love the relationship he has with Shuri though. Like he
hmm
told her like when she buries the queen, like he says like I can't view you as a child no more. Like
hmm he's
you've
lost
lost
too
too many
much,
people. Yeah, and
and
like
she
I
really
got
has.
yeah, and then like she's and then he said like my brother or your brother told me to not only watch you but give you counseling, like guidance.
Hmm.
So it is kind of like a brother and sister relationship, which if they move forward with Shuri, I want that to continue, because if he's the ruler of Wakanda, Shuri is still the Black Panther. She's still
Yep.
the protector of Wakanda.
Yep.
So those two combined, you have a setup to have really amazing scenes. And I don't want to see either of them die. But if like Shuri says, "I'm done being Black Panther," that's going to be a very impactful scene. If you have the next movie kind of really kind of focus on those two and them running Wakanda, together and figuring shit out, maybe.
Yeah. I don't want to see either of them die either. They've lost too many. Wakanda's lost too many. I really was not expecting Angela Bassett's character, Queen Ramonda, to die. Like, especially with like
We should get into that, man.
that was crazy. But I'll just
Holy
wrap up my
shit,
thoughts
yeah.
on M'Baku real quick. I do hope he gets a Disney Plus show. Like,
He will.
because they're gonna do a Wakanda show, so I hope he's in that a lot if they do it. And I agree with you. It looks like he's king now. He challenged for the throne. No one's gonna challenge him. And I don't think he had to have had a conversation with Shuri. It's not gonna be a surprise to her. So he's gonna be the king of Wakanda moving forward, and Shuri's gonna be the Black Panther moving forward. But I do believe T'Challa, when he gets older, will be both. He'll be both. Like, I don't even think that he'll have. I don't think M'Baku will have a problem with like giving the throne to him.
And you know what? What's crazy? I just thought about right now is if we're going further to the multiverse, and you're going to have this big, huge event come, Avengers with Kang and stuff. You know what? They would probably bring in grown up T'Challa.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
In one of those portals or whatever they do, and then he's going to introduce himself like, "I am, T'Challa's son. I was T'Challa. I am the Black Panther right now." Shuri, an older version of T'Challa, probably in the Avengers, because I think she'll probably sign a deal to go to at least to the Avengers. I know they want to do. I've heard they want to do a. We'll get to Namor in a little bit. I heard they want to do a Namor trilogy, or not a trilogy, but more movies with him. So
right.
I could totally see that's how they're gonna probably grow up. T'Challa is one of these multiverse events, because I think we already know Toby's probably gonna come back. Andrew has a possibility to come back. Toby already says he wants to come back, and then there's so many rumors that all these rumors can't be false. Some of them have to be real.
I agree. That one's gonna be crazy. But yeah, I was thinking about that too. I was like, man, multiverse, like they could bring back.
Could do anything.
They could bring an older version of him, that character, and it doesn't even have to be the same actor when the one from our universe grows up.
Yeah. And they're gonna have an older actor and stuff. Hell, they could, if they wanted to. If Sony is talking to Marvel now, they could bring Miles Morales into the universe.
Yep,
and the beauty of it's a one-time event, unless they really alter like something crazy. But it's a one-time event where everybody's gonna go back to their universe. That's why you're gonna see. I think that's why you have Hugh Jackman in this Deadpool 3, because I'm sure, because he's had discussions with Kevin Feige before he got the announcement on Deadpool 3. I'm sure he'll be back for Avengers too.
I think so. For Avengers Secret Wars, I think so. And yeah, that movie's gonna be insane. But that's a conversation for another day. So we wanted to talk about Ramonda and how her character died.
Yes.
I was not expecting that. And
I wasn't either. I was absolutely not. And I actually,
poor Shuri, dude. She lost her father in in Civil War in 2016. She lost T'Challa in the first Black Panther movie when they thought he died, when Killmonger killed him.
Yeah.
Then she really lost T'Challa. Well, there was a blip too, but she got blipped away, so that doesn't kind of count. She didn't have to go through that grief, but then she really lost T'Challa in this movie, which I think that one hurt her the most. And then she lost her mom a year after she lost her brother. Insane.
I agree. I did not see that coming at all. I thought I didn't see it coming, but
they teased it in the trailer too. But I thought they were just teasing it. I was like, it wasn't gonna happen.
I did add confirmation that the actress Angela Bassett, she's 60
Hmm.
years old, man.
Oh yeah,
60
she's
years
older.
old, and she
She
looks
looks
fire.
she looks
She
great.
looks
She looks
good.
built.
She's
Hmm.
looking good. I mean, and then also with her white hair, like that's my queen right there. You know, I'll
Hmm.
fight for her. Um, she said though in an interview, or she was getting interviewed, that she told Ryan Coogler that she didn't agree with the decision of killing off her
Her
character.
character? Oh,
Yeah, she did not agree with it. She thought that she wanted to keep. I think she wanted to keep going, but we don't know how long she was going to go.
right.
And I was listening to another podcast, and they were right on the money. What Ryan Coogler likes to do with his characters is he likes to have a death so he could motivate and elevate his main character. With
Mhm.
T'Challa, it was his father. With Shuri, it's not only T'Challa but her mother too. So he
With
tends to
Killmonger, it
like.
was his father.
Yes, that was the other one,
Hmm.
Killmonger and his father. So he tends to do that a lot. I'm fine with it. Just don't keep doing that shit. You know,
Right.
if you have a heavy hitter, sometimes when you're in, sometimes you could rewrite shit, man. And I would think that if watching, I would have thought about that. I wouldn't have killed her off. I would have gave her one more flick. I would have gave her one more movie, but they killed her off. I could see why he did that for M'Baku to take over, for Shuri to be the Black Panther, more motivation for her.
Hmm.
So whatever time Angela Bassett got in this film, I absolutely enjoyed, loved it. She killed it. I thought the death scene was pretty good too. I thought that was a pretty good death scene, and what it also does, it makes Namor a little bit more of a threat. It makes him
Yep.
more of like he means business, but there
Yep. He
is
kept
a
to his word.
he kept to his word. But the
Hmm.
only issue I have with the death and Namor, because Namor is, I think he's a dope character. It's just I'm questioning a lot of his things that he does in this movie, and I'll get to the other one. But one of the things he does is he says he's gonna go take out Wakanda. He does what he's doing right. He kills the queen. He takes out a lot of the troops. But the mistake he does is he goes, and I think I understand why he does this. But for me, I was like, Wakanda's out, right? He wanted to be allies with Wakanda. Wakanda's out. They don't want to do it. So that means they're the enemy. You said, are you the enemy? Blah, blah, blah. At this point, they're the enemy. So what does he do? He gives them a week. He gives them a week to bury the dead, mourn the loss. And I do like that line though. He's like, "You're queen now."
Oh yeah, that was hard.
Finish them off right there, man. You obviously they're the enemy now. Finish them off right there. You have them by the ropes. Don't give them any opportunity to come back. And but you could also say that's Neymar in the comics. He's a cocky, arrogant guy. In a movie, I felt a little bit of that too. So, but that's for me. It's a nitpick, but for me, if I'm gonna destroy you, you're done. I'm not gonna give you a chance to get up and have some sliver of hope. But I thought the death scene was handled great. So I love the Queen. I thought the Queen was really good in this film.
Hmm. Um, Okoye, I wasn't expecting her as well to lose her status as Dora Milaje,
Amazing scene. This is where you get the
but
big speech.
yeah,
Have I
that's where you
not
get.
given everything? Yeah,
Hmm.
amazing
And
speech, but amazing job by Okoye. Her name is I think it's Danny Guerrera, Michonne.
yeah, Michonne.
Um, boy, she. I wish they would have gave her a little bit more to do towards the end. I hate the suit, by the
Hmm.
way.
I
Um,
like the Midnight Angel
God,
suit. It's a
oh my
cool name.
God,
I don't like the suit. I hope we
dude,
don't see it again, or they
oh,
refine the heck
upgrade
out of
it,
it. But
upgrade it, dude. It's so bad. Like
it's bad.
it reminds me of the end
The
of
thing from.
the Predator
Mhm.
killing thing, or it's so bad. But
It
the
was bad.
actress so good with her emotion in that scene, the tears,
Hmm.
like you really felt that shit. But
Yep.
what I like is like there was a point. She's
There
like,
was.
"Oh,
It makes
you
sense.
you went to Killmonger's side.
Yep.
I told you not to take her. I don't know why
Hmm.
she took her." And then the other guys though, he said like, "Well, she did go against her husband, and then
Yeah,
Angela Bassett's whole speech was just fucking phenomenal, man.
that was a
That's
great
probably
scene right there. Yep.
that speech was as good as Idris Elba's. We're canceling the apocalypse in Pacific Rim. It was that good.
Mm,
I was just like,
hmm.
there we go. So no, absolutely god awful suit. They do
Yep.
play around with that. They do make a little reference, like
Oh
about
yeah,
how
no,
bad
I'm
it
on
is.
Okoye's side. Okoye, the whole movie's saying like, oh, it keeps getting uglier. It's not looking good.
So
So
bad,
like that,
so
yeah.
bad.
I, but I do kind of like that she's not the leader of the Dora Milaje anymore because it frees up her character more so she can do other stuff.
Yeah.
But it was surprising to me. I just hope that they do something else with that suit. Um,
So M MVC Wolf.
it's my brother right there.
Did he change it? He changed it. He said Anika. Anika's the other one, right?
Yeah, that was the other one.
I didn't put two and two together. I don't know why, but the second view, I'm like, oh wait a minute. She's the one when he's in Civil War. She's the one when in the Bucky and Falcon Winter Soldier. She's
No, I
the
don't think that's her.
I think that's
She
her.
that no, that's the other one. That's her love interest that
Oh, is
they like
it?
kill at the end. Yeah, that's her because she's the first Dora Milaje we ever seen, and now that one is the leader of the Dora
And,
Milaje.
okay, yeah, because Nika's a little bit more skinnier, right?
I'm not sure, but I think this was her first movie. I don't remember seeing her before, but
Okay,
the
if it's a
other one
love
I don't know her
interest,
name. But the
the other
other
one's
one is the one
bad.
that we've seen everywhere.
Yeah, she was
Where
in
like
the
in the first
Bucky.
scene where they're in the saving like the lab, she's the one that tells her, "I told you not to bring those daggers." That
Oh yeah. Oh, I
that
didn't
is
even
that
put that
girl.
together too. Yeah, and then
Hmm.
together, which
Yep,
okay, I like Anika though. Anika was pretty cool.
she's cool.
She had a nice humorous moment. The
Hmm.
dagger scene and all that stuff. So no, Anika's cool. The how do you say it, Albert? The down menage. How you say
The
that?
Dora Milaje.
Like I'm a huge fan of this group, man. I
Yep,
mean,
they're
if I
sick.
they're the bat like it really feels like they could some mess up some people, and I think that's inspiration to a movie that came out this year that was super controversial, and that was The Woman King, and that
Oh,
whole army. Those two are very similar, but this the Michonne and crew ain't taking people for slaves, So,
right.
but I'm a huge fan of that crew, man. That crew is just that's probably the best thing I like about Black Panther is them for sure.
Hmm. I'm gonna be
Um,
right back. I need to go grab something real quick. Give me
all right,
1 minute.
I'm gonna continue somewhat of the conversation here, so I'm just gonna take a minute. I absolutely so I liked Anika, I liked Michonne, basically Okoye. I thought Angela Bassett killed it. So the acting has been phenomenal. It was really good in this film. Like it was really top notch. Everybody did their part. Everybody did what they needed to do to make this movie, and I think it is special. I think if you didn't like it, I could see the points why you didn't like it. There's some things in the script that should be cleaned up, should have been a little bit better, but a film. I was a There's a big popular YouTuber called Mr. H. He's really spot on. I agree with most of his stuff, like a lot of his things. Like there's very rare where I disagree with some of the things he has to say about film and whatsoever. He didn't like this film. He absolutely thought the script was dreadful, which I could, he had great points. He always makes valid points. Just because somebody, if they make good points, you could agree on those points. But I did tell him like he focused a little bit more too much on the script, and what makes a film too is the music, the acting, the overall. You have to feel something for a film. You have to feel something for a scene. Like there has to be emotion. You have to be invested, and I was invested in this film, and I think a lot of people were. The emotion in this film, yes, it's hitting close to home, but you're feeling something while you're watching this film because you do get the Chadwick tribute in the beginning, but there is more to the film. There is a thing where you're seeing somebody overcome and how dealing with a big loss, especially with her Shuri, with her brother and her mother. the music really, what I love about this music in this film is that they didn't try to cheap it out. They didn't try to have the music give you that emotion. You just felt it automatically. And when they did, it was super subtle. Like a lot of the scenes with Shuri and she's thinking and she's sitting, or just really, especially with the funeral scene, it's not, that music is not blasting in your ear. That music's not doing a John Williams thing or something like that, a score like that. It's really subtle. It's really just creeping in, and you could appreciate that. Especially like we were talking, me and Albert, when the scene where the Okoye and her crew are defending or against the French. Like when the music kicks in, it really makes you pumped. It's like, oh, we're about to see something go down. So the music was phenomenal in here. The look of this film is absolutely gorgeous. The costume department did a fantastic job. Namor and his people look amazing. And actually, Wakanda looked fantastic too. The Queen, every outfit she was in, she was killing it with style. Now, I know this is like Wakanda, but they're like super. At first, they presented themselves as kind of poor and this and that. But I like the world building too, where you see a little bit more Wakanda, and it's technically, far beyond a lot of like the U.S. and just everybody else. Even I think Tony at one point. But you look at the village, and it's still a village. They still have all this high tech and stuff, but it's to protect the village, and the village is somewhat still of a village. It's not some high tech dystopia. So the look was fantastic though, and the world building was great as well, to go from here and then go from Namor and his people and where they're at. And it's a little bit of a mixed bag for me, especially watching Aquaman and stuff, but it kind of makes sense of like what Albert said, is when you're going deep into the ocean and it's more darker, and he's using vibranium to light up everything. So I do give kudos to Ryan Coogler and the production team to really kind of like make this film feel different. This is a different Marvel film. It's not really a cookie cutter vanilla type film. There's a lot of layers in here. There's a lot of things to think about, like introducing that of like, her viewpoint as religion to science. It's that question. If it makes you debate a little bit, that's what the film should be able to make you do if it's trying to convey that message. It still has your happy ending at the end, but it's not, and it still has your big battle at the end, but it feels more, a little bit more tamed compared to like Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi was just really bland. I think that one of the best scenes was the train sequence, but like you got this big battle at the end of that one. It was just CGI everywhere, and I'm not saying that there wasn't CGI in this film. There was, but it just felt a little bit more grounded. It felt like it definitely was a slower paced film, which sometimes that's good, but in this time it was mixed to me, where I felt like it should have picked up a little bit more in some places. But the film itself is a really good crafted film, even though the script is not quite there. I gotta disagree with Mr. H reviews, is that there is more to a film than just the script. The script, if it's you can only tell the story so many times, and I feel like we have seen this film before, but the execution is what brought it home to me. The execution of, so the script was good. It was good. I thought it was good, and then everything else kind of came together and executed really well. So Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever is a film that I think a lot of people should watch. I mean, this is probably one of the best Marvel films that come out so far. I mean, compared to a lot of other ones. I do find No Way Home better, just because I think No Way Home, because I'm a little biased too. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, but that was probably one of the best Spider-Man movies I've seen live action put together. I mean, it used nostalgia in such a right form, and it made like Toby and Andrew's characters not feel like cameos, but feel like part of the story. So I would give No Way Home a little bit more, definitely the number one movie out of all these movies so far, just because like the acting is still fantastic in that movie. There's some great acting by all actors in that movie, especially with Zendaya, however you say her name. Tom killed it. Holland killed it too. Andrew was one of the best parts in that film. William Dafoe, all the villains were great. Like Spider-Man was so balanced, and it was a long, lengthy film. And I did think there was a little things you needed to trim on that one too, trim a little bit of the fat, but it didn't have as much fat as this film did. And then when you go on to Multiverse of Madness, I'm probably one of the few that actually really love that movie because I love the zaniness. I love the how far it went, Sam Raimi it was. Sure, things definitely the script could have definitely been had another pass through, especially with Wanda's character. But I found so much enjoyment watching the film. I found the uniqueness of the fights, especially with the Doctor Strange versus Evil Strange or whatever you want to call him, Strange battle at the end. I thought the Illuminati little cameos, a nice little cameos, really exciting. But I knew that this was a step towards maybe bigger things to come. But it was a fantastic appetizer to have, and I could eat that appetizer all day long. So that would be my number two, just because I had so much enjoyment of it, and I could actually rewatch that movie because it's not as lengthy as this one. It's really fast paced. It is cut a little weird and edited weird, but when it comes to better film and better like constructed film, of course, I think Wakanda Forever is better than Multiverse, and I would even say it's a little bit more better than handling the emotion aspect than Spider-Man No Way Home, because my one gripe for Spider-Man No Way Home was Aunt May's death and how it wasn't an impactful death as I wanted it to be, just because Aunt May just wasn't fleshed out as she should have been. But Wakanda Forever is my third favorite out of the Phase 4, just because I enjoyed the other two personally better. But if I had to say a better constructed film would be Wakanda Forever. They did everything they needed to do to make this movie really something special. And I think it is. I think it's a good counterpart, or it's a good 1-2 kind of punch from the first one. The first one's so much more of a spy, so much more of a Marvel-esque movie. Well, this is like a nice breath of fresh air where there is investment in a lot of things that's going on while this movie's going. So that's kind of my thoughts on like just overall where I rank them and where how I'm feeling about the film overall compared to a lot of the Phase 4 films. I do look forward to a lot of if they're doing an Namor movie, I do like that character. The Disney Plus series have not been good. Some of them have, but a lot of them have not. They have not nailed the landing for the most part. The She-Hulk was a big fat disappointment. I did not care for She-Hulk whatsoever. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We got Albert back in the house.
No, I've been here. I'm just getting my camera off for a bit because my battery was dying, and now I have it charged in. But
Okay.
I've been here for the past few minutes. I heard, but before we start talking about the Disney Plus shows, I do agree with you. They haven't been as good as I wish they could have been. They started off great with WandaVision. Mm-hmm. Then it went downhill with Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then it went back up with Loki. And then since then, they've been all right. That's all I'll say. Since then, they've been all right.
It's a big disappointment to me because of how the potential could have been.
Right.
Hopefully, Daredevil kills it.
Let me tell you that we have the same top 3 movies for Phase 4, just in a slightly different order.
Okay.
I like movies that make me feel emotion, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I like Black Panther so much, and that's why I like Spider-Man so much. And I agree with you where Black Panther handled the emotion better.
Yes.
But like the deaths and whatnot, right? Because Aunt May's death was sad, but it was nowhere compared to like the sadness I felt when Queen Ramonda died, or just the opening of T'Challa's death. But what that movie had was nostalgic emotion, which is a hell of a thing. And I just remember getting teary-eyed seeing Sandman for the first time, teaming up with Tom Holland, Spider-Man, and they're fighting Electro.
And then Sandman and all of them meeting up at the end, and you have like the Danny Elfman theme subtly in the background, and then you also have Andrew Garfield's theme subtly in the background when he gets introduced.
And when he says Zendaya, like moments like those, right? And just seeing the 3 Spider-Man, like for the first, 10 years ago, I wouldn't have imagined something like that. Even when Tom Holland became Spider-Man,
Yeah.
in 2016 it was announced, or no, I think it was 2015. In 2016 we saw him in Civil War, and I thought like, yeah, we're never going to see Andrew again. By then, for sure, I never thought we were going to see Toby again. And then to see them, the three Spider-Men that we've known, share a screen together, and not only that, but like be main characters of the Spider-Man movie, because they were more than just cameos, right? And
Yes.
seeing them swing off of each other in that, dude, that was like that movie. Just the emotion that I felt watching it was on a different level.
The,
But
the the reason
Black
it's number
Panther
one to
is,
me too, though, is
uh
that
huh,
you heard me bitch about it like before we leading up to that movie. My most favorite scene of all Marvel movies, and where I'm gonna when I die, I'll be dying happy because the scene that hit me the most, and I was tearing up a little bit, is the scene when Peter's talking to all the Spider-Man, and then he's like, he's like, and I could still hear her say, "With great, with great
yup,
power," and then Toby finishing it off, and then Tom going like, "How do you know that?" And then Andrew coming in like, "Uncle Ben said that when he died." I was like, "Oh, dude, Uncle Ben,"
mhm,
and like them acknowledging that, and then all three of them kind of understanding the most famous line of all media. That's
yup.
why Spider-Man's number one for me, because they used that nostalgia, but they used it in a freaking fantastic way. But I gotta agree with you
It
though.
was
Black
amazing,
Panther, Black Panther did for I mean they you for a lot of things that happened in this film, you really felt emotion with not only just like the emotional aspects of the film, but you felt emotion when it came to the fight scenes, when it came
right?
to the dialogue that was going between maybe Namor and Shuri, or we just talked about it with Queen Ramonda, or the
Hmm.
Queen and Okoye. Like that was like on the most that scene. I will forever have it in my brain because it was that damn good.
Yeah. And also to add the introduction of Shuri as Black Panther with the theme, um, and T'Challa at the end, like this movie was really emotional, and that's why to me I'd place it over Multiverse of Madness at number two, with
Yeah,
Multiverse of Madness at number three, because that was just a really fun movie. I love me
yeah.
some Scarlet Witch, and
I think
that
that's
movie
why.
was great. So
I
that's my
think that's
top
why I
three.
have it
Same
at
as
number
you.
two. I think
Yeah.
I love Scarlet Witch so much. I love Elizabeth
Mhm.
Olsen. There's no secret. I freaking love that
Right.
chick.
And we had
She
seen
she's.
villains, or yeah, villains turn to heroes. This was the first time seeing a hero turn to a villain in the MCU, which was very fun.
I would have
Um,
loved it a little bit. I do agree. It should have been handled a little bit better.
it
Maybe a
could have
couple
been.
more films. But
Hmm.
for what it was, like it just because her acting is amazing too. She's such a great actress. She's so good at. I think the whole ending to that movie too works because of her acting. But you're absolutely right. Like I mean, I don't fault you for putting this movie ahead of Multiverse because this is such a better constructed movie in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think those three movies are on a separate tier as the other Phase Four movies in Black Widow, Shang Chi,
Yeah.
Eternals, and
Oh.
Thor: Love and Thunder. Those were all the movies that we got. Those in Phase Four, and you know me, I didn't hate any of those movies, but they weren't as good as these three, or specifically Spider-Man and Black Panther. So I'm happy that both years ended with a bang, because last year ended with Spider-Man, this year ends with Black Panther,
With
and
Black
I'm
Panther.
more happy that this phase movie wise ends with Black Panther, because we have the holiday special Guardians of the Galaxy that officially closes out the phase, but
Yeah.
uh, that's a special. But this,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's the same.
this,
It's the same light as Werewolf by Night. You're not
yep,
gonna really kind of put that in the like. It's fantastic, but you're not
yeah,
gonna really be thinking like overall big picture that that's the way they end it.
nah,
Yeah, I think this is the way they end it too.
yeah, I think it's this one. But I was gonna say, I had mentioned it to you before, where I said this phase to me is the intermission phase, and I now that it's concluded, pretty much. I haven't finished She-Hulk. I haven't watched Werewolf by Night still. I haven't had the time, but I finally have the
Phenomenal.
time. I'm gonna
Werewolf
watch
by
them.
Night, phenomenal,
I'm gonna watch
Phenomenal.
them within the next week or so and finish watching
Hmm.
She-Hulk and Werewolf by Night. I'll tell you right now, the first 3 episodes I've seen of She-Hulk, I don't think it's gonna be anything special.
It's not.
Um,
I kind of skipped out on some of the last episodes. I just read up on what
yeah,
happened, and I was just like, I did the Daredevil episode because he's in it at one point. I'm like, I'm good. Like that's all I wanted
right,
to see. Yeah,
right.
there's a surprise there, but yeah, just watch it. I
But yeah, it
guess.
was an intermission phase to me. And if I were to put a theme on this phase, it'd be loss and grief, because that's how it started with WandaVision, with Vision's famous line, "What
Yeah.
is love, but or what is grief but love persevering?" And then going all the way to Black Panther, with the movie ending with Shuri pretty much living through that when she burns her funeral gowns.
Yes.
Like it just came, the phase came full circle on a thematic sense to me.
That's a
So
great way to put it too. I didn't even think about that. That's a fantastic way of putting it. Dude, we got to talk Namor and his people though. We
let's get into
that's
it. We tell them
that's
all we're an hour in and we haven't even talked
yeah.
about them.
We got to Wakanda. We talked to
Yep,
mostly of the Wakanda. I think there was.
yeah,
I mean, so we got to talk about Namor. Um, I you know what? It was so funny is I think the last the last Purge movie he was in. I think he was in the last Purge movie, and I remember watching it, and you know what? He was in it, and I didn't realize it. He was the same guy that was in the Purge movie. It's like
yeah,
it was like the latest one. Um,
yeah. I didn't even know, because I think I saw him. I didn't even know I'd seen him before. I thought this was like his
he's
first
the
movie or
Mexican
something.
guy, yeah, with the little
Hmm.
cowboy hat and boots. He did the actor. I don't know his name, but he did a fantastic
It's
job.
Hinoc Huerta,
He,
something like that.
I thought he was gonna struggle a lot with the English part of it, but he did a good job. He was
Oh
very.
yeah.
I don't want to say he was charismatic. I think he was very suave. I think he was very
Mm-hmm.
smooth. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I love, like I said, I love the look of the Neymar and his people. I like. I didn't mind the little feathers in his feet. I know that's comic book accurate. After a while, like I didn't even find it strange because this is Marvel. Marvel is strange,
Right.
so I didn't
Yep.
find it strange. I thought the scenes he was in when he fought were so badass. When he was, especially when
Oh
he's
yeah.
attacking
Mm-hmm.
Wakanda and he's pivoting and he's so
Yep.
fast, I was like, holy shit, this is like DC take notes and make sure Superman or whoever you had or Black Adam should have had these kind of scenes. That's what I'm saying. I think Ryan Coogler did a better job directing this film because a lot of the action scenes were so much better here than the first film, especially with Neymar flying in the air. And then I like the water bombs that they're dropping too.
Those things are badass. Yep.
Um,
Um.
there is a point. So I thought it was an interesting choice too. They have blue skin when they leave the water because they can't
Right.
breathe normally. They have masks and stuff. The his two henchmen, the chick was fine.
Yep.
She didn't get a lot to do, but the guy was pretty badass,
Amora
especially
and the Tuma.
yeah, his little rivalry with
Mm-hmm.
Okoye. So
Yep.
that was cool. I like how they set up that. I just
The
hated
best fight scene in the movie was him versus Okoye on the
was the
bridge.
bridge. The bridge
Yep.
scene, yeah,
Yep.
the bridge scene was dope. The bridge, and then watching it the second time, it made me laugh a little bit more. And I've seen Aquaman, and Aquaman is so bizarre and crazy, but just seeing like these whales
Mm-hmm.
just like drop off
Yeah.
these
That shit's
people,
funny.
and
Mm-hmm.
I thought the whales were gonna like smash into the bridge or something, but nah, they're just basically an Uber lift and just
Yep.
lifting them, and it was a funny ass scene. But I was like, it's Marvel, just go with it. But the chase scene and the bridge scene are probably, I really like the attack on Wakanda, but that bridge scene's pretty dope though.
Yeah. That was my favorite fight. I'll tell you right now, the only thing that I didn't care about the movie that I kind of disliked was the final fight, and basically the whole final fight, just on the boat, in the
Yeah,
water, and then the Namor versus Shuri. It's just
yeah.
it didn't feel as impactful as
It,
the fight on the
it's
bridge.
so funny,
It,
it's a slow
I
movie,
think
but
it was
it
the way
felt
it was cut.
rushed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like they didn't. if we had stuck with Shuri versus Namor a little more instead of cutting back and forth, I think it would have been better. But it didn't feel like a final fight. The bridge scene felt way better. It's probably also because it didn't have music, so you could hear the blows and like I was like, dang. But that was my one thing that I didn't like about the movie too much was the final fight. I'm not gonna say I hate it because of that. I just wish it was a little
Yeah.
better. But
I
Shuri,
absolutely
I don't
agree
think
with you
has that much combat experience, so it makes sense that she wasn't fighting that much. And then
I thought
Namor
she
just
was
caught
still
off
kind of
guard.
holding her own, and in a
Hmm.
realistic world, she would have got owned like right away.
Right.
And then I also thought like nobody thought to ever rip um, Neymar's wing off. Like nobody
Hmm.
attempted to rip that wing off because it was very easy to rip that wing off. It would have been cooler if like they explained like maybe Neymar's wings are like they're absolutely hard to rip off, but she ripped it off. So
Yeah,
whatever.
she ripped one of them off. But I think it'll grow back. I mean, I don't
It
know.
will. It will. It'll grow back. It'll grow
I
back.
don't think he's like permanently gonna be disfigured like that. But they have crazy technology, you know. The one thing also is vibranium. It's just magic metal. Like they haven't gone real into it, but apparently it can do anything and everything.
Or like
Um,
antimanium or whatever it's called. Wolverine's
Adamantium. Yep.
antimanium.
Um,
That hasn't been
dude,
introduced yet. Soon though.
it hasn't
Soon.
been, and for a second I thought they were gonna introduce it here. That Namor and his people have adamantium, but no, it was the same. It was
Well,
vibranium.
so Namor at one scene, you know, he's talking to Shuri, which I thought him and Shuri's. So I actually really liked the dynamic with him and Shuri. I honestly thought there might have been a little bit of a romance thing going on there for a little bit.
Oh, I thought so too.
I thought
Hmm.
like, dude, this is like because he's calling her princess, this and that,
Hmm.
and I was kind of down for it. I was like, okay,
I
but
was too.
after after he killed the mom, I was
Yeah,
like, nah,
no,
that's
that's
done.
not happening no more. Yep.
That's done.
But I felt
but
it.
there was a scene where he's talking about his backstory, which I thought it was fine. It kind of reminded me of Apocalypto a little bit, which I
Hmm.
dug. But he does say he's a mutant, so we got
He
another
said that.
confirmation, another
Yep.
mutant. I
Yep.
thought this was better than the reveal of what's her name,
Miss Marvel.
Ms. Marvel.
One
I thought
hundred
this was
percent.
I thought this was better handled. So I like how he drops that. I like the comedy that he put where he's like, when you go down, like when
Hmm.
she wants to see the people, and he's like,
Right.
"Oh yeah, it'll crush you, this and that," or you could wear a suit. We got plenty of them.
And
Like,
I think that was his only joke really.
which great.
With
That's what I
yep, I
complain
loved
about the
it.
most. That's what I
Uh
complain about the most.
huh.
It's too much
Exactly.
jokes.
Both me and you, well, I think you complain more specifically just the movie in general has too much jokes, which I agree. But to me, it's just the villains. You know, for some characters it makes sense, but for others, give them maybe a joke, but
And
don't give
he was
them a joke
charming
every
about it. He
scene.
was so
Mm-hmm.
smooth about the
Yep.
transition. So no, have no problem with that joke. And then
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't like his motives were like a mustache twirling villain, how he wanted the surface world and he wanted to take over, blah blah blah. But his act and his personality wasn't, to me. His personality was what really kind of made him a more intriguing villain. So Neymar is like, what I always say too, what makes a villain super badass is his look.
Oh
And
yeah, he
with
looked
his little
badass.
green tidy whities, wrestling
Mm-hmm.
kind of tidy whities, and
With
his
that neck piece and his big ass
yeah,
headpiece. When
dude, I was
that
kind of.
shit
I
was
mean, it
badass.
makes sense that he didn't go to battle with it, but I would have been
Right.
like, dude, go to battle with that. That's sick, dude. That's a
I wanted to
badass
at least
look.
arrive into battle with that, but yeah, it makes
Yeah,
sense that he doesn't because it looks cool, but it's fucking humongous.
it's
But
huge,
oh man, it
and it's kind
looks
of funny
fucking
how it's
amazing.
able to go underwater, right? Because I think it's
Hmm.
like a shape of like a lion or something like
Yeah, it
that.
looked like the shape of a lion.
Yeah, it was a badass. It was a badass design, and then just him
Well,
floating down.
all of their
Very.
design was amazing. I loved everything. The water mask that they had, and then also around their gills. I loved it. I loved their look, the feathers and everything.
Yeah,
The Mayan just aesthetic. It
it makes
was.
sense.
I
The
loved
one
it.
thing
Yep.
they changed about Neymar in the comics was that Mayan Aztec kind of lore,
Uh
which
huh.
I'm all for. It makes sense.
I'm
It
for it too.
works.
Yep.
Yes, it was
It-
beautifully crafted.
and
Yes.
that's universally. I feel like everyone's. I haven't heard one negative thing about like the change of like, oh, why did they change
Yeah,
Namor to brown guy? You
this
know?
is the one change because Neymar is white as well.
Hmm.
This is the one change I think everybody could like after watching the film like agrees with, and it's kind of it is awesome to know that he's from Latino descent, and
Yeah.
like us like Latinos we don't really have too much invested in Marvel, just liking a lot of the
No, you
characters that
don't.
Marvel present. So
Hmm.
I'm not one of those guys who go like, oh, you need to change the
Right.
ethnicity and all that stuff. You change it if it makes sense. You just don't change it to change it. So to change this Neymar to this, it makes perfect sense. And it actually, and I'm super happy that, I get this Aztec
Yep.
Latin lore because I love that. I love that aspect to what they brought in. And I look
Hmm.
forward to that if whatever they do, series or another movie with Neymar.
Yeah, and it makes sense, dude, because I don't know too much about the Mayan lore, but I do know that I think their race disappeared. So right here, you see they disappeared into the ocean.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
And
And
they're
I
warriors.
like their
They're
backstory
warriors.
and everything.
Latin people are
They're
like
warriors.
Mayans
Yep.
are warriors. Like these are, and
Hmm.
then going against Wakanda as their foe, these are warriors too. These are
Yep.
absolutely African
Dude.
descent. Like
And
that's two factions that
yep.
man you want to see these two clash because they both have different aspects and skills. Obviously, with the best fight with the Dragon Ball Z Kamehameha, right?
Yeah, that shit was funny.
Obviously with Okoye and what's that guy's name?
A tumor.
You saw two different styles, and you even
Hmm.
saw. I like how they did showcase Okoye getting her ass kicked, but then coming
Hmm.
back, and it's okay to get a power up like that. Not a god awful suit, but it's okay to like knowing that this person's like immortal. You need something like that, right?
Yep.
That's why Tony upgrades his suits for everything. I love that little YouTube video or short that explains why Tony has a
Hmm.
certain suit because he learns from his mistakes. So he
Yep.
upgrades it. So that makes sense that Okoye would have to get a little bit more of a power up. Like a Saiyan, like a Super Saiyan, you have to power up to fight other
Hmm.
better, warriors. So great stuff, man. Great stuff.
Yeah, no, man. So just I love this people when they introduce my favorite scene of the movie, I believe. Maybe I don't know. I need to watch it more. I need to let it sit a little more. But one that really stands out, and that as soon as the movie ended, I had to search up the song was when they introduced Talocan, and that song plays. I felt
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah,
and watching it in
yeah.
IMAX, I felt like I was underwater. I felt like they did a
The one
great
song,
job at putting you in there. Hmm?
the song when they're like going into the city and
When
then
they're
they
going
showcase.
into Talocan at
That was a
first,
nice. That was
that
nice. That's a good
that was
jam, man.
great. It goes in, but all the music really goes in, but
Yeah.
or really goes well with the movie. But that scene in general, it was just like
Well,
I keep going back to the word beautiful. It was, the first time you see Talocan and you see all its people. Um, it's the first time we're seeing it as well as Shuri. So we're in Shuri's shoes, and just the music playing, and it was great. I really love that scene. That song goes hard.
the beauty of Black Panther is they're introducing like you're introducing these the African kind of like warrior kind of music type going on there.
Hmm.
Traditional music with that, but then you go into this Aztec kind of Aztec version of or Aztec
Yeah.
plot with Neymar, and then they're introducing a lot of the Mexican, like not Mexican, but like a lot of the Spaniard kind of like tunes and like
Hmm.
you just see the switch that goes on, and
Hmm.
everything just mixes so well. And then
It does.
that jam is more. I actually was very surprised how much that worked because that's more of a poppy kind of
Yep.
like
Hmm.
really kind of like, but it sets the mood. That's what it does. It sets the mood of it, even though it's dark and it's not wondrous as like maybe Aquaman, it's setting the mood of like you're in somewhere different. You're
Yeah,
exploring something different, and that's the world building in the sequel is greatly appreciated
for
by
sure.
me and everybody else.
Hmm. Uh, Dang, what was I gonna say? Oh, well, I forgot it. But yep, I love that scene so much. The music
There's
and
so much
everything.
good here. There's so much good here.
Oh,
Um,
I remember what I was gonna say. I was just like they did do a good job at portraying both um, like Africa and Latin slash Mesoamerican like culture.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, I'm not too educated on either culture, um, but like I just like the tiny details. Like when they're speaking Wakandan, the subtitles are in yellow. When they're speaking in Mayan, the subtitles are in
Yeah,
blue.
yeah,
And when they're
great
speaking any
pickup.
other language, the subtitles are in white.
And then Okoye
French.
uses the native tongue at the end of the
Yep.
movie.
hmm
That's good. Yeah, that's
Like
good
you
shit,
can
man.
hear the difference, but they just make it easier by making the font different. Um,
But
Same with
let
like
that.
when they go into Talocan first, and when they show the flashback of Yucatan, um, it shows it first in their language, their scripture. They'll like it's like in blue writing. It's the Mayan language, and then it translates to English. Same
Yeah.
with Wakanda, it shows you in the Wakandan language, and then it translates it to English. Like small details like that, it does a lot for the world building, as well as just what we
No,
see and the
no.
music and everything.
That's what I'm saying. Is like there's little. I mean, Marvel does it in every other movie in their movies, and then you go back and you see the little details. But the little details in this flick is really so great. Like they could be
hmm
lazy and not do that,
Right?
but it's a well crafted film. I mean, I was talking earlier about Mr. H and like how he didn't care for the script, but there's so much more that goes into a film that yes, the script maybe not be as good, but a lot of things can elevate that script, and that's especially with the acting and especially with like little details. If you really, and you could see the love that's put into this film. Like there is the CGI is better. They took notes. The CGI is 1,000 times
hmm
better. A lot of the hand to hand combat are hand to hand combat. That's what I want to
Yeah.
see. I don't want to
hmm
see. I think that's why I think we didn't necessarily care for the ending too much because it's your Marvel ending still. It's a lot
Yeah.
of,
That's probably
flying
true.
around. It's,
hmm
the Shuri's actually wearing the suit and fighting in the suit, but it's a little bit CGI'd. And then Neymar's really, kicking her ass until he's like drained. So but there's a lot of love and craft into this film, and I mean, obviously more because Chadwick Boseman's passing, and they wanted to make sure this thing was like cherry,
Dude. And they had me because, like I said, I didn't think Ramonda was gonna die.
Yeah.
But for a second towards the end there, I thought they were gonna kill Namor off, and I was just like in the back of
Oh,
my
I
head,
know.
no,
I was like,
no,
do
no,
not
he's
do it.
cool. Don't do the
Marvel
mistake.
does not learn the lesson of
Mm-hmm.
not, good villains and killing them off. I
Yep.
still thought Killmonger was still alive in the first one, but then when I
Oh
rewatched the
yeah,
first one, he drops
he
and like,
dropped.
oh nah, he's dead. He's dead.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I want to get into that. So I want to get into that. One of the
Yeah.
best
Thank God they kept
villains.
him alive. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's great they didn't kill off Green Goblin. Um, I'll say
Yep.
like so Neymar and Killmonger are somewhat similar. They're somewhat similar. They have kind of a same kind of story beat when it comes to like motivation, sort of, and they're kind of similar. They're very similar, but they're different. So in this movie, I thought I thought it would have been disrespectful if they would have had like a deep fake of Chadwick Boseman when Shuri
Oh, for sure.
goes back to this ancestral world. Um, but I didn't think they were going to do that. I thought maybe they would just have like a panther just go up to her
Mm,
and like, kind of like, because you see that with the dad, but then he transfers to the dad. But maybe he's just a panther. He doesn't transfer into Chadwick, and you can still get the point. But they throw us for a little loop, and you get a scene with she finds out the one that's waiting for her is Killmonger. How
yep.
did you feel about that scene? Because I know a lot of people are split on it,
Right.
um, where it kind of doesn't make sense. But yeah, I guess you could just kind of like, I guess you could try to make it make sense because of how she's feeling. How did you feel about that?
I'll say first, I thought it was a little weird how she didn't even like try to want to contact T'Challa. It was just the mom, but fine, it's the mom. She probably had a very close relationship with her. Probably thought she would give her the best guidance. Um, and I thought T'Challa, maybe we could have heard his voice, especially when at the end, when she decides not to kill no more, she hears her mom. Like they could have had, it could have been someone impersonating T'Challa's voice. I thought that they could have done that, but really, I'm glad that they didn't deep fake him or didn't have his voice or anything. The only time we saw his character was in the flashback scene at the very end. Literally, the movie
Yeah,
ends with him
I'm
saying
happy with
that.
that. I didn't need a
Mhm.
voice. I
And
didn't
then
need a
the
deep fake.
painting,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, the
But
painting. The painting's a big one.
like,
Yeah, the painting's a
so
big
you
one.
see that in the beginning, and then you don't see any visual T'Challa again till the end with the flashback. Um, but so how do I feel about them showing Killmonger? It made sense to me. She was coming from a place of vengeance and rage. She wants to kill Namor. So it makes sense that she saw Killmonger, like he was rageful, right? So I like that they brought him back for that. I thought it made sense. Yeah, I don't know why people would have an issue with it. Like, did they want her to see the mom or the dad, or did they want her to see T'Challa? Did
I
they
think
not want Killmonger? Are they just upset that this confirms that he's actually dead? He's not in a Cairo sleep or anything?
I will
I don't
say this
know.
though. I will say this. I think it was a huge, huge mistake to kill off Killmonger in the first one.
It was 100%.
Huge,
I was.
huge.
I remember watching the first Black Panther movie, and I was thinking, I kind of wish they would have killed T'Challa instead of M'Baku's people like finding him. Like that would have been because I like Killmonger. Um,
Like you
so
could even like
for sure,
if
I
he would
wish
have
he was
stayed
alive.
alive, yeah, he could have been in the sequel for sure. And you know who's
Yep,
been a, and him becoming the Black Panther would have been a huge redemption arc because now he has to protect the thing. It's a great. I don't know how they would do it. I mean, you can do it, but
they
to
could
have that,
have.
they could have that switch with his like,
Hmm.
especially with him being defeated with T'Challa, just having him understand like that wasn't the right way, move on and do the right way and do
Yep.
and you know, just redeem yourself. A
Yeah,
redemption. A
and look,
redemption.
they had like a perfect story too, because Namor, what Namor wants is what Killmonger wanted, kind of in the first one.
Exactly. But
So they
you
could
know,
have had Killmonger say like they could
they
have
could
gone
have
two
still
ways.
brought Killmonger in too. They could have
Right.
easily said like he wasn't really dead in the first one.
No, he wasn't. Like they healed him up. Like he had the heart shaped herb in him, and like that was like it didn't kill him. I mean, and when where he got stabbed, it was like near the stomach. I don't think it was by the heart. And Shuri got stabbed in the same place, kind
You
of
know, I
here.
think he got stabbed
So
in the chest though. He was like
was it
right
the
in the
chest?
middle.
Was it by the heart? All right.
It was the middle. It was the
I
middle.
thought it was
Like
like the
it was a
stomach.
fatal blow. Like,
All
but you
right.
know,
Still though, they
Wakanda
could have
has
said
so much
something.
technology. You know, you would
Right.
have saved his ass.
Exactly. If they were like they could have done something, but I just wanted to say they when I watched, I was like, wow, if Killmonger was here, he would have 100% sided with Namor. They want the same thing, right? Um, but I don't think so because I don't think Killmonger works well with others, so he probably would have gone to war with them. But I really think a miss, not a missed opportunity, but just in a in a different universe, I guess they could have made it to where
Uh,
Killmonger's redemption arc, where he
a
talks
what
to them,
if? A
where
what if? A what
yeah,
if?
the what if, but they could have had it where Killmonger like has a conversation with Moore is like, I once wanted something like you, and I found out that's not the way, and they could have
Or
played it off like that.
or you know what? You could have had Killmonger versus Namor, and you could have role reversals. You could have had Namor be the good guy and Killmonger to
Yeah,
still be the villain. You could have had that
yeah,
too.
that could have happened too, but I don't want to
Ah,
talk about
then
that too much because like it's not gonna happen. We
it's
might get
done.
Killmonger again in the
Yeah,
future, but he's
I thought
not.
I thought the scene was fine. Honestly,
Yeah,
it didn't
but
hurt.
yeah. Big regret. No, I don't know, but a big thing that I have is I really do wish they didn't kill Killmonger in the first one, but oh well, at least they didn't kill Namor in this one.
Oh yeah, no, it would have been a huge.
Because I was thinking like, damn, they're gonna kill him. There's already a character named Namora. Like he's just gonna slide into that role. Don't get me wrong, she looked dope as hell. Like she looked amazing.
I don't want
But
all my leads to be female though. You know, like we're
I don't
already
even care
getting
about
that for
that.
Avengers. Like
Right.
I want a couple dudes in there. You know, I want a couple sausage fests in there.
True,
Like
true.
you know,
But
I want my T'Challa. You know, I do want
yeah.
a T'Challa. I want that kid to grow up and be Black Panther. That'd be cool.
Oh, for sure. I think everyone
Yeah.
does. So
That I want my Peter
there's a
Parker to
lot to
stay
look
Peter
forward
Parker
to.
for a little bit. I mean,
Oh,
I
for
would love
sure.
Miles Morales to come in, but I don't
Oh,
want a
same.
Gwen to take over, you know, or something like that.
No, no.
No,
Although I do want to see a Silk. But
That's just
That's down the
announced.
line. That's
That's
down the
just
line.
that just got announced that they're gonna have a live action series with her.
Cool. Well, I'm
Yeah, on
interested in
Amazon.
that.
I'm glad that
Um,
we are going into this topic because there's one more topic I want to talk about for this film. This was my least favorite thing about the film, where I really thought it just didn't. It dragged it out so much. Talking about people replacing people, I think, in my opinion, it's too early. I think that it's just too big of a shoes to fill. But you got Riri Williams being introduced into this film, who is
yeah,
Ironheart.
we haven't talked about it.
I don't I don't like her. I don't hate her. I'm not like, oh my god, I hate her like Captain Marvel. No, 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 that's not like the actress did good. The actress did what she got paid for. She did what she needed to
Right?
do. It's just the character is nothing. There's nothing there for me to go like, oh my god, I can't wait to see her series. She's basically another smart genius. We have so many of those. We have Peter Parker. We have Mr. Fantastic. We have Doctor Doom coming in. We have Shuri. Shuri is a genius. I
Mhm.
just don't. I think it's a little bit too soon too to like when you see her Iron Man like type suit. You're just like, it just doesn't feel right. To me, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like, yeah, but Iron Man died only like maybe a couple years back. And even then, like, I still think Robert Downey Jr. is going to make a couple more appearances on the Avengers movie. I don't feel anything for Riri. That might change for the series, the Disney Plus series, but I'm not excited for it. I didn't think her. I thought that, okay, we were talking about humor. I thought the one horrible humor spot was when they go to her dorm room, and it
Mhm.
didn't make any sense too when she's like, "You gotta look at yourself in your ashy head." Like her
Mhm.
head wasn't even ashy. Like where did
It
that come
wasn't.
from?
It
So I'm
wasn't.
like, I thought that whole thing was bad. I think her suit was whatever. It's an
Which
Iron Man
both of
suit.
them? Both of them? Both suits? Her like Mark One and then her Wakandan.
Well, Mark One, you don't really see it. It's kind of like the Spider-Man No Way Home suit at the end, where you don't
Right?
really see it. Like you see glimpses of it, you know what it is,
Mhm.
but you're just like, you don't get that nice shot of it. I don't really care for it. And then they did the same rehash of her going up and taking out the drone,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
was like, that's Iron Man One. Like
Exactly.
what? And then when she's hammering away on her
Mhm.
suit, that's Iron Man One. Like I
I don't
don't
even know what
need
the point
that.
of that was though. I'm like, where did that little heart go? The
Why
heart
is
just
she
cut
called
out.
Ironheart? Why does she have a heart? Like I get they gave her you.
Uh,
She was the Peter
They'll
Parker
explain
of
it though.
Civil War. It was the
Yeah, that's
same
true.
thing. It
Yeah.
was the same thing,
She was
except
a little more important though, because she was the reason
she
why
was a
the
MacGuffin.
story happened. You know.
She was a MacGuffin. So in the movie, Namor says throughout the whole movie, "I gotta kill the scientist. The scientist
Right.
has to die. She's the scientist." The whole moving of the story was because of her, and then she
Hmm.
kind of gets left on the wayside towards the end. She does her part, but she's not a really big factor, honestly. The
Yeah.
thing is, though, he constantly says when he has both of them prison, "I gotta kill the scientist." Well, shut up about it and do it. Like, why are you not killing the scientist? Like, why do you have to hear? I know you want to make an alliance with Shuri, but you already made up your mind you're gonna kill the scientist. So kill the scientist. Like, what are you like? I
But
don't
he
I don't
does
get
say
that.
it because they're having a conversation before he gets
Mm-hmm.
summoned. He does say, because Shuri says we can just keep her in Wakanda, it'll be fine. Which to me that seems like plausible, right?
But
Just
he
keep her in
doesn't
Wakanda.
listen. He doesn't.
But
It's
but what I was
logical,
gonna
right?
say is it's logical, but he says after that this is more than just about her now, and then that's when he starts talking about like for ages the people above have enslaved people that look like you and me, and then
Yeah.
that's when he starts talking about like it's not about her anymore. And now it's about we need to team up
I.
and we need
But
to
I think
fight
he's still.
the
I
over
think he's
people.
still trying to kill that scientist, though.
He still is, but now it's more about it's more. So it's still that, but
Yeah,
also
yeah,
then
that's what I'm
more.
saying. She's a MacGuffin. She's like
Hmm.
she's kind of like a MacGuffin is basically kind of it's a device or it's
right,
something that everybody's after and moving the story
right.
forward,
No,
and
then
that's what
she
she
is.
is.
Mm-hmm. She
Yeah,
is.
so
But like towards the end, if they kill her, there's it's still like a rivalry between like once they kill the queen, like definitely it's more than just about
exactly.
her.
You didn't need her. You did not
Mm-hmm.
need her. You could have had
Yep.
the same conflict if you would have took her out. And honestly, it probably would have been a better introduction of her own series because you would have got a lot of the backstory. Because I know she has backstory with her stepfather. I know she has backstory of that car. I know
You
she
know
has
what?
backstory of she's
Right.
in MIT or whatever.
Right.
She's in I don't think Robert Downey Jr. is going to be in her series. Maybe a voice recording or something, or Jarvis maybe. But yeah, dude,
So
like I don't.
let me tell you then this. You're right. They didn't need her. They could have had the inventor of that machine. It could have been that lady in the freaking helicopter that died in the beginning, right? It could have been no one that invented
Dude,
that
I didn't think
machine.
she was gonna
Just a
die
team of
there.
people could have
I'm
invented it.
surprised she died early. That lady.
I'm,
I
I'm
don't know. I
surprised
just
too.
thought that lady
I,
was gonna go,
I,
keep going,
I
like
thought
say
she was gonna have
something.
a little more of a role, but no, she
Yeah,
died.
now
But
she died. Yeah,
um, what's dang my dog's over here is going in on something. But yeah, they could have had it as just a team of nobodies or nameless people that invented that machine. They didn't need to have Ironheart, and they didn't have to have all those scenes and like with the CIA and stuff.
yeah.
So had they cut that
But you're
out,
right. They were
this movie
short.
would have been even better. It would have been 10
Yeah.
out of 10. But I give it
It
a 9 out of 10. Spoilers.
yeah. It would have been so much better. And I didn't need to know Martin Freeman was once married to whatever her name is.
That was very surprising though.
Like, but
Um,
what does that give you? What is that doing to
that
anything to the
doesn't get
story?
much, but we'll see where that goes, right? Because
It's not like she like at the end like I'm not gonna arrest
you
you
know,
because we've been
to me,
together for so long.
I guess that's just including Ben Martin Freeman or what's his name,
I think it's
Martin
Martin
Freeman.
Freeman.
So, well, now
Yeah.
it's the way to introduce his character into Thunderbolts and stuff. Because now he can go mess over there. Because now it's
I'll be
like he has
honest
a
with you.
connection.
I'm not. I don't give a crap about Thunderbolts, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We haven't had a trailer. We don't really know what it's
I mean,
about, what it's
the only
leading
one I
to.
like is Yelena.
You mean you don't
Uh,
like Taskmaster? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
that's what I'm telling.
Uh,
So they switched the gender on that. There was no need to do that. There was no need to do that. That was one thing that did not make sense to me. And this is not even Taskmaster. It's not even. Oh my god, you make me go back to Black Widow. And you know what? I'm the one that actually liked Black Widow for what it was,
I liked it. Loved it.
but it's very stupid too at the same time.
But,
Um, I don't know. It's so here though. This movie right now, Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Um, dude, yeah, I enjoyed the shit out of it. I don't think I could watch it
mhm.
again. I think I'm good after two times, but I appreciate what Ryan Coogler and the crew did. It's an achievement in my opinion of what the circumstances had to call for. I would have changed some things to the film, but I'm actually looking forward to the future. So I'm looking forward
Mhm.
to a lot of the series. But what I'm mostly looking forward to is what we do with the character Black Panther after this. So that's what I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah.
And Namor. I want to see what Namor does after this as well.
Yep. I want to see what happens with Wakanda, M'Baku, um, Shuri, young T'Challa, and Namor and his people. I am curious to see when we'll see them again. Uh, One thing I will say, Shuri's Black Panther suit is my favorite Black Panther suit.
I'm glad you touched upon it because the
Um,
mask is pretty dope. I like how it's like just
yep.
very blank with the eyes.
And my cousin, he had told me that because he can get into things as well. He can get real like into the meaning of things, and he was telling me that the way he sees it is that the suit has the silver of T'Challa because Shuri has his nobility, but then it also has the gold of Killmonger, which shows that she also has
On the
his
mask.
rage
Yeah.
on the mask, and
I noticed that the
then
first
it has
time,
the white dots that Shuri had, right? That Shuri has.
which represents
So
her true
yeah,
self.
which represents her. So like it's a mixture of and there's probably something from her father's suit too in there. I'm not sure, but it's a mixture of the Panthers that we've seen on the big screen so far.
Yeah, that I noticed
Um,
that too with the gold on it. I'm like, that's Killmonger's. Yeah,
mhm.
I mean, technically it's her
It might be
suit.
reaching. Yeah, it might
She
be
she
reaching. It
she
might not
made
connect
those
to
two
that.
suits. She made the gold one
Yeah,
and she made the silver one. It's just
that's true.
Killmonger
Yep.
happened to
He just
take the gold one.
he, he,
But
he
it
got the
for the
necklace.
audience, we see that. Yeah.
Hmm.
I will.
And
Yeah, go for it, man.
I'm just like, I know people like the stealthy suit. I like it too, but this one just, it was like a little extravagant. I like the gold, the silver, it popped. And just her, like, because it's a thin panther, right? And you kind of see her when
She's
she's fighting.
skinny.
She's very
Yeah.
agile. Like the movements are
Very
different.
skinny.
It's
Yeah.
very cat-like movements. So yeah, I like the suit. I like Shuri as a Black Panther. This movie, it's called Black Panther. We only saw the Black Panther suit for like the last 15 minutes, which I thought was
Yes.
dope. Like
Yes. The
the
Black
Black
Panther
Panther
was
isn't in
hardly
the
even
movie.
in here. Yeah.
Hmm. This movie, like, you
Which
could
is
have just called the
fine.
movie Wakanda Forever, but it is a Black Panther movie, right? And it's very much a Black Panther movie
Passing of
because
the
the whole thing
torch. Yeah.
is she needs to recreate the heart-shaped herb, and she does finally, right? Which was also an emotional scene because I'm pretty sure what was going through her head was like, if only we had made
Another
that sooner to save her
another
brother.
banger too. Another
Yep.
banger.
Oh, the song when
That
she's
was like
like,
a little reggaeton, not reggaeton, but like
mhm,
a little bit of cumbia, kind of like a
yeah,
little bit of,
when
uh,
that was dope when she's
a
working in
little
her
bit.
lab.
A little bit of Jamaican, like a little bit of reggae mixed with it's like a little splice because like Cuban music or kind of Puerto Rican music too has those elements to it.
Uh
So
huh.
so I dig that because that was at the end of the movie, towards the end of the
Yep.
movie. So they had a little spice of like both those kind of like nationalities, you know.
Hmm. But yeah, there wasn't that much Black Panther. Um, but I still want to see Shuri as a Black Panther. She won me over.
Yeah.
Going into
I,
it, I want to see M'Baku as Black Panther. I don't know if I would have been fine if we saw Shuri as Black Panther, but walking out of it, I'm excited to give her one more movie at the least. Give her a
give her
movie.
give her one more movie or give her two Avengers.
Yeah, or that's so there you go. Give her one movie, Black Panther 3, where it's her as Black Panther throughout like the movie, right? And then put her in Avengers Kang Dynasty.
And then that's it. And then move on
And
from her
maybe
and go
maybe
somewhere
Secret
else.
Wars 2, right? Because Secret Wars it comes out a year after. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's give me her in that, and I'll be satisfied with her. And then let's move forward to T'Challa. Because Secret Wars comes out in 4 years from now, which by then T'Challa, let's say he'll be like 10, 11. But just because it comes out 4 years from now doesn't mean that in universe it's 4 years from now. Like there was a 5 year time skip in Endgame. There might be a 3 year time skip in Secret. Who knows? Who knows? It's gonna get crazy. But
Yeah,
yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with all the properties that we saw in
I
Wakanda
think
Forever.
I think we don't get a Black Panther 3 prior to Avengers. I think we'll
No,
get
I
more
don't think so
series.
either.
I think we'll get more series, the series that they're doing, and
Hmm.
Namor. And
Yeah,
then you'll probably see glimpses of Shuri, as Black Panther, and she'll probably be in like a couple maybe team ups. But I don't think you'll get a Black Panther 3. I don't
that's
think that's gonna
true.
happen.
I don't see that. Now that you mention, I don't see a Black Panther 3 happening before the next two Avengers movies.
No,
Um,
especially with the actress and what she wants to do, because I don't think
yeah.
she wants to be in a long run. I think a lot of these actors and
Hmm.
actresses, I think one of the regrets Chris Evans made is he signed a 10-year deal instead of like a 5-year. Like
Right.
he didn't understand how lengthy and because they take this Marvel machine takes away other opportunities for a lot of these actors and actresses
It
that they want to
does,
do.
'cause
Yeah,
especially like Chris Evans, he was playing that character year round. We saw that character from 2011 all the way to 2019. Every year we saw him. The only
yeah.
year that he didn't really play the character was 2013. He just had a little cameo in Thor: The Dark World. But every other year, he was either the main guy in the movie
Uh
or
huh.
one of the main guys in the movie.
Yeah,
So
so and even
yeah,
Chris
it's crazy.
Hemsworth, Chris Hemsworth has been like at it for like so long too,
Hmm.
and he's kind of barely getting into different movies because he doesn't have to be Thor as much. But
Right.
yeah, man, we'll see.
But
I will say too, Albert. There is one scene I absolutely loved, and that was when Killmonger was telling Shuri, like, your father, he was a
hmm,
coward.
hmm,
Like,
he's
like,
a hypocrite.
dude, he was a hypocrite. And
Uh
that's what I'm
huh.
saying. The first movie, they never said that he wasn't. They never like addressed like, well, he had like no. T'Challa was a hypocrite, bro. Like he honestly, like you understood why T'Challa and Killmonger were pissed at him. And then he goes on to say like, don't take away from your mom's sacrifice, which is dope. And then he says, your brother, he was too noble. Like I like those. I like that line. That was some sick ass dialogue right there.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like again, I'm glad they brought him back just real quick. They killed him off, whatever. Let's move on. They brought him
Yeah,
back for the ancestral plane. Wasn't expecting it. There's a lot in this movie I guess I didn't expect. Um, but yeah, I've been trying to stay away from trailers. Like Ant-Man, I didn't watch the trailer until I saw it on the big screen. Like I wasn't gonna run out of the theater. I'm trying to avoid them a little more. And yeah, just really like the way they handled Killmonger. And like you said, what he was saying 100%, he's speaking facts. He might be saying coming off a little rude, like a little
yeah,
insensitive, but it's the truth and it's what you needed to hear. And yeah, I like that twist. But to go back real quick, because you had started talking about Ironheart, and I didn't give my thoughts about that.
yeah,
Um, I guess I did. Like they didn't need her, but since they did have her going into the movie, when her comics started to come out, because her comics are recent, the character is pretty recent. I didn't care about it really,
I know a lot of
and
people don't care about her character.
yeah, I didn't care about it. I don't read the comic books though, like that. And when they announced that she was going to be in the movie, I didn't think she was going to have as big as a role.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I
but
didn't think she
also
was
I
gonna
don't
have it.
mind it. But yeah, I went into the movie like, man, I don't really care about Ironheart. Like, it's kind of whack. I don't know, but the actress did a great job, I thought.
Yeah,
Um,
don't take any away from the actress. The actress did what she needed. Like they gave her
right.
this role and they gave her what to do,
Hmm.
and she did what she needed to do. She was it's it's really hard. Like I guess the biggest example is Mbaku, right? Mbaku doesn't
Right.
have that much scenes. It's just
Hmm.
he's just so charismatic and so like
Right.
you can't
It
stop watching this performance. Which her she was good, but she's not Mbaku. She's not like
no.
in having me engaged where I'm like I gotta see every scene she's in. You know.
Also,
Plus she was a little whiny.
I thought M'Baku almost died when he got that big ass punch in his chest, and then like they play it off because he's like struggling to breathe. So I was like, all
Yeah,
right, he's good, thank God, because
yeah.
I thought he his chest got caved in.
I thought that
Um,
one. I did think the one dumb thing though is when she comes out as Black Panther, right, Shuri,
uh
and
huh.
like they do this arm wrestling thing, and like
It was funny,
he's not, but he should easily be getting beat because she's going
right?
against Namor, right, and they have like the same
Right?
kind of strength.
Uh
Dude, he
huh.
got his ass kicked by Namor, but yet he can hold his
Um,
own by Shuri.
she was probably just not doing the full strength, just showing that she can keep it there, and then she started to slowly do it.
Okay.
Because yeah, I if she wanted to, I think she could have snapped his
It was
arm in
very
half.
weird. I was like, dude,
Um, it was
Mbaku
weird,
shouldn't
but
be that strong.
who knows how strong he is, like that vegan protein, but
He's pretty huge.
which I loved how they say he's vegetarian in the first movie. He's like, oh, we don't eat people, we're vegetarian. And then
Yeah.
right here, the first time we see him, he's eating a carrot. It's like, oh yeah, he is vegetarian.
That shit was funny, man.
Uh-huh.
That
I was
shit.
playing the
Oh, the
no,
fish man. And like, yeah, or
mhm.
like, yeah. And Okoye is like,
But
oh, talking
yeah, I
shit
love
too. It's great.
M'Baku. Back to Ironheart. I came out of the movie liking her character, honestly. I didn't dislike it. I don't think it's fair to compare it to Iron Man really, but that's probably because, like you said,
I
we don't
mean,
know why is she named
she
Ironheart.
has the.
I don't
Why
know.
does she? Why
Right?
does she
But
have an Iron Man suit?
yeah,
Like,
but we're gonna
these are
we're gonna
questions
get
that
into
need to be
that.
answered.
We're gonna get into in her
They get
show.
into it in her series. Don't put it in Black Panther 2. I don't need it in Black Panther. You don't need it. You don't need like dessert after an Olive Garden meal. You don't need
Mhm.
it. You're good. You're filled. You
Yeah,
don't need the extra.
I
Um,
didn't mind it. But
I honestly
this.
think her comic book character. It's they saw Miles Morales. They saw
Mhm.
he's half black and half Hispanic. They saw how
Right?
popular and huge he got, and they're like, let's
Yeah.
do this for Iron Man. But the
Right.
difference is Miles Morales is such a fucking cool and awesome character, and he has and him taking the mantle of Spider Man. they did a fantastic job. Like, you understood why he took that mantle, and you understand the difference between his powers. I get it's kind of hard because when it comes to Spider-Man, they do such a good job with like different variants of Spider-Man. Like that's why Into the
Hmm.
Spider-Verse is so good, and that's why you can get a Spider-Gwen, you can get a Spider-Ham, Spider Noir. Riri, I'll give it. Riri has a short end of the stick because there's everybody loves, especially MCU Iron Man. So
Yeah.
whoever comes, even I think even if his daughter comes and replaces him,
Hmm.
it's still like yeah, but you ain't Tony.
Hey,
You ain't
it's like
Tony.
Happy said, no one can live up to Tony when he's talking to Spider-Man in Far From Home. No one can
Yeah,
live up to Tony. Like,
and
and
nobody wants Peter
it's
Parker to
true
be
for
Tony.
in the universe and in real life. Like, no
Yeah,
one's gonna be what he was to that to them in the movie and to us in real life. No one's gonna be that. Uh,
like
um,
leadership. It would be
but
Doctor Strange,
one hundred
leadership wise.
percent, I do think that Tom Holland's Spider-Man has the opportunity to be the face of the entirety of the MCU when the MCU wraps up, if it ever does. Because just the way he was brought in at what he was like 16, 17 when he was brought in, he can
Yeah,
play the character for a while. They can do a story unlike anything that we've seen so far in Marvel. But that's if he's willing to play the
yeah.
character
I,
for that
I I
long, you
know
know?
I know he said he would be this character for as long as he lives, but there
Mm-hmm.
things change, man. He's actually in a relationship
Yep.
with the Zendaya. You don't know if
Yeah.
they're gonna have kids. You don't know. You don't know. Like he's a young kid still, but I see this guy and he's doing these big blockbuster movies, and you got to
Mm-hmm.
realize you've seen this story before in Hollywood where actors get burnt out, man. They get
Mm-hmm.
burnt out, and they sometimes they just need they get stressed. And
Yeah.
um
But
with Tom, I won't be surprised if they don't continue with him like after this new contract is up because
mm-hmm.
he doesn't want to do it no more. But I wouldn't be surprised if he says, you know what, let me get another contract and let's finish it off. Let me finish
Right.
my Peter Parker Spider Man off.
Exactly.
Um,
What I
I'm
really
just
want
living,
is we've had the
just
high
happy
school
with it.
trilogy. I want the college
College,
trilogy, which is probably
which
next, and
which
then
we're
the
getting.
adult trilogy, which is up in there, right? Well, like that's years away. It'll be
If
after
it's
this
me,
new
I
deal.
want the happy ending. I want. I think we're gonna get
Yeah.
that with Toby. I think we're gonna get that with Toby a little if they do make another movie. But I still want him to,
Nah,
end
I
up
think
with
we'll get it with
MJ.
Andrew.
Maybe Andrew, because they still
Yeah,
haven't introduced Mary Jane in that one.
that's true. We'll see. There's a
But
lot
I
that can
want,
happen. We're in exciting
I
times.
just
Thank God
want
we live
Mary
in this
Jane and Peter, man.
generation.
Mary Jane and Peter and his daughter, Mayday Parker.
Yeah.
Give me Mayday Parker, baby.
Hmm.
Mayday Parker.
Um, So yeah, it's
No,
exciting to see where this is going. Like I know you and I have our problems with Phase Four, but we can both agree it ended strong.
it's ending on a strong note, especially after watching Werewolf by Night and seeing what they could do
Hmm.
with the special, and then watching this. Didn't care for Thor: Love and Thunder. What I say,
So wait,
multiverse. I enjoyed. It's
so
it's
this movie,
it's
would you
ending
give it a
okay.
9 out of 10? Would you?
This one,
Yeah, I put it at 9.
um, yeah, yeah. You know what? I put it in the same level as Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Hmm.
It's just different. They're two
It's
different. They're two different
different.
movies,
They're definitely yep.
but they
They're,
but they but they bring something to the table similar to. It's just with Spider-Man, they didn't have to cut. For me, I think they needed to cut a little bit, but not as much. For this movie reminded me a lot of Civil War. But after I got done watching Civil War, I was like, oh, what would I cut? What would I edit? What would I trim down? And then when I was thinking like all the time after watching Civil War like what 3 times or whatever, I was like, I can't cut anything in that movie. The movie
mhm.
flows. There's nothing to cut to make that movie
Um,
flow even better. This one you can, but the thing is, I mean, film wise, it's just such a well done film. It's a well done
right.
film. So I would give it a 9 just because like especially with Phase 4. If it was like just talking Phase 4, it's definitely a 9 with all the
Yep.
shit that we got. So like this is this is a good direction,
And
but there's there's more movies. There's a lot of delays. There's a lot of reshoots. So I don't know. I'm still like
and um,
wary of Marvel. You know.
it also depends on where we go from here, because further movies can enhance our opinions on this movie, if like when we see where the characters go. Because like Avengers: Age of Ultron, it was all right, like, but then seeing how much it impacted the rest of the movies and stuff like that, it's like, wow, that movie was really important. Like a lot of branches, or a lot of um, stories branched off from things that happened in Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Still didn't care about it.
Um, yeah, no, I'm. Ultron should have been bigger. Ultron should have been a Thanos level threat. We saw that
Dude,
in What If.
Ultron should have been
Um,
the villain, man.
yeah, they can still always bring him back because it's just an AI.
What if?
Um, yeah, well, no, they can. I mean, I guess they showed it in What If, but I hope we see Ultron, like the actual Age of Ultron again. But yeah. Oh well, that's in the past. Let's look to the future.
Yeah. So next up, Guardians. Second is
Give Ryan Coogler an Avengers movie.
he is. He's getting one.
Oh, is he?
He's directing it. Yeah. He's
Which one?
directing one
Secret
of
Wars?
them. I think he's directing the. Yeah, is that the first one? I think he's directing the first
Not the
one.
second one. No, the first one they giving it to the Shang-Chi director.
Oh no, are they?
Yeah, the Kang Dynasty, the Dynasty of Kang Avengers movie, the next Avengers movie that
Give
comes out in
Ryan,
2025. They're giving it to Shang-Chi director.
give it to Ryan Coogler. I'd
Yeah,
rather have him
I rather
direct.
Ryan Coogler. I feel like
He
if
handled
you
this really well.
Mhm. Perfectly, in my
Give him,
opinion.
give him the Avengers. Don't give that guy. Not dissing
Yeah.
that guy because he had some good moments in that movie. I
Hmm.
just thought it could have been 1,000 times better. But Ryan
Right.
Coogler has shown me that he has good movies, man. He has
He
Creed,
does. He has
Fruit for
creative this. Hey.
Salvation. He has good movies.
Um. Sorry, my dog's eating wood, but yeah, Ryan Coogler has good movies. I look forward to seeing more of him. But I will say, like, I'll probably forever. Hopefully, they can tell us what the original script was going to be, because I do want to know what the original plan for Black Panther 2 was going to be. Um, I would just, because I think it was always going to include Namor, but I feel like we heard that it was going to have to do with T'Challa dealing with the events of the blip, right? Him being gone for 5 years. I hope they share a little bit more details on that, maybe like in the behind the scenes of when the movie comes out on physical release. And just the last thing I'll say about the movie, since I started talking about T'Challa, I'll end it with talking about him. And it was the the opening Marvel Studios logo, right? Where it was like a tribute to him. And I think it was the first time where there was no music or any noise
Perfect.
for that Marvel Studio logo. In Infinity War, there was no music, but there was the background audio of like Mayday, Mayday, our ship's going down or whatever. So that it was like a moment of silence, right? And it was showing, because we didn't see T'Challa too much. We saw him in one movie of his own, and then we saw him in Civil War and two Avengers movies.
Yeah, which he
So
wasn't
it's
even really
unfortunate
in.
we
Yeah.
didn't see him too much, but they threw all his scenes in that Marvel Studios logo. And I'll say that the first two times I saw it, the theater, there's like 500 people in there, right? It's a big IMAX theater. It was silent. It was quiet. Like, I we're all lost of words, right? Like, no one's eating popcorn, no
I
one's
heard
clapping or
sniffles.
anything. Oh yeah, for sure. I heard a little of those, right? I tried my hardest to hold my,
Well,
like,
I
I got
turned.
teary eyed, but I tried my hardest not to like sob during the movie. So it opened up like strong, and then seeing the painting, seeing that opening, and then just the way it ended as well, where you see Shuri's scenes with her brother in the
Yeah.
past movies.
Well,
So
the first showing, I turned and I saw Sandra, and she was wiping
it
a
was
tear.
it was sad, dude, because it was more than just a story, you know. The actors, those were, I don't think they were acting. Like, that was raw emotion, you know. I know T'Challa, I mean Chadwick Boseman wasn't in that casket, but I'm sure in the moment it felt like he was.
The guy was a good guy, man. I mean,
Hmm.
the guy was I don't know. This death really kind of hit just because he's
Yeah.
the struggle he was going through, and yet
Hmm.
he didn't complain. He didn't let anybody know.
Yep.
Um,
It's insane. That
s-
like you said, he's a true
yeah,
hero. I
yeah, and
think it said
what
he
what I
got.
love, and he inspired, man. Like I saw him in
Mhm.
42's Jackie Robinson. His last I think shout out or video footage was the anniversary of Jackie Robinson, and he was talking about him. Um,
Hmm. Oh yeah.
I just this guy though inspired so many different kids now. People want to be Black Panther. People
Hmm.
want it's and that's a hero you need. So that's what really hit me too. Was like, dude, man, this guy was like because he's black and he's Black Panther, and
Right.
I'm Mexican, but I don't care. Like that's awesome. Like the to have like a black superhero. We've had black superheroes before. I love
Hmm.
Blade. When Blade came out, that was my shit. Wesley
Right.
Snipes, Blank Man, Meteor Man, or whatever. But Black Panther was this generation of kids growing up. That's why I took my son to go see it this when I went to go see it the second time, even though I knew it was long and I knew he would probably want to sit through it, but he did. And I just sat there, and I think that's where I got a little bit more emotional. It's because I had my
Hmm.
son next to me, and I'm looking at like you said, the intro's coming out, and I'm like, Chad, I didn't know you, but like you just inspired so many people,
So
you know. Get that dog. Nah,
no,
but
dude,
he
we're good.
he did good, man. Like he inspired. Well, he left a legacy with how even though he wasn't in a lot of movies, he doesn't in a lot of the Marvel universe, but he was a true man. He's an icon. He's an
He is.
icon.
Yep, for sure.
Dying young makes you kind of especially if you make an impact like that. Dying young usually makes you certified icon.
Hmm.
Tupac, um, James Dean, Marilyn Monroe, Jimi Hendrix. Like these are cats that kind of didn't have the full life, but they leave a lasting impression. So he's an icon to me. That mural, that painting on there, like
Uh huh.
shit, put that somewhere, leave it somewhere,
For sure.
have that shit
I,
happen.
I do hope that, like, maybe there's already one, but like in a Marvel museum or something, I hope
Yeah,
that's like a big centerpiece somewhere. Um, Beautiful mural. It mirrors the one of Tony Stark, Iron Man, and when Peter's looking at it.
yeah,
But this one means more because
absolutely,
Robert Downey
absolutely.
Jr. didn't die. It was his
No,
character. T'Challa, the real person, died. So it
yeah,
was very emotional.
he
Mm.
died while still putting in work for Black Panther, and that's the strongest Avenger that you can ever have.
Yeah, when like it's kind of sad because you look back every time you see him portraying Black Panther, you know that he was fighting the um, cancer that he had. Which what a man that he powered through to give us his portrayal of Black Panther. So much respect to him. And yeah, the movie, it was definitely how it says after the after credit scene. It was definitely dedicated to our friend Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, and I think it's a good spot to leave it. I'm just gonna leave it at this. For thank you guys for joining us. What a film. Let me know what your guys' thoughts on the film, but I'll end it with this, Albert. Wakanda.